Greetings. This is Brad Feakes here with the EstesGroup, and I am here today with Karthik Chidambaram of DCKAP. As you might know, DCKAP is a leader in the Profit 21 distribution community, and when it comes to integrations, e-commerce, and product information management. Karthik, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Brad, it's always great to see you, and thanks so much for meeting with me.
Oh, you bet. Always fun. So Karthik, let's talk first a bit about integration. So integrations for us is key in our industry. So with EstesGroup, with our hosting practices, we find ourselves working with customers and vendors continually to integrate solutions and help our customers extend their applications and extend that footprint. Now integration is a huge offering of DCKAP. So tell me a little bit about DCKAP's evolution to providing these comprehensive integration platforms.
It's a great question, Brad. As a company, we have made a lot of mistakes. We have had our ups and downs, and we've also had a lot of failures as well. This integration itself was born out of a failure. So we were trying to integrate Profit 21 with an e-commerce platform for a customer of ours in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it was a cumbersome process, and it was extremely difficult. We have asked ourselves this question: why is this so difficult? Why can't this be simplified? Again, that's when we got to know about APIs, and we got to know about the existence of an integration platform, or why do we really need an integration platform? So at that point, what we were doing is we were doing manual integrations. This customer of ours was using Magento and Profit 21 for the ERP. And again, we have done a lot of work in Magento, and we have also done some work in Profit 21. We are trying to integrate these two systems together, and it was not easy. That's when we realized that this solution could be better. We put in our best people in the job, but even after putting the best people, it still did not work. So we asked ourselves this question. That was not a great experience for us. I would even call that as a failure. But then we didn't really stop there. And we really evolved, and then we have the DCKAP integrator right now, and we are really super excited about that.
Excellent. Yeah, I always find failure is your best teacher. I've had plenty of lessons in my life as well. So to follow up on that, so what I see with a lot of our customers, we inherit a lot of environments where their integrations are often a combination of what I call interfaces and integrations. Now, when we had the DCKAP roundup back in the spring, I had talked at length about the differences about one-time, single-use, small-purpose interfaces versus integrations, which tend to be much more platform based. And so as a customer, what would you say are some of the pros and cons of going with an integration platform versus kind of a single use interface?
Absolutely. That's a great question as well, Brad. I've always had this question myself. Hey, why should I pay for an integration platform? And this is something we also talk to customers about, but right now it's really exciting because we work with a lot of Profit 21 customers. And people really understand the need for an integration platform today. But when we started doing this, one of the questions we get asked was, hey, why should we really use your integration platform, or any integration platform for the matter? Why can't we write custom API, or why can't we write custom code to get these two systems integrated? So that's a question we get asked often. But let me tell you what some of the challenges are. Let's say Profit 21 changes their API, then you need to go and change your code again. There is another system, let's say you're integrating Ecommerce, for instance, and then they change their API. You have to go and update that again. But then we're just talking about two systems here. Let's say if you're using Salesforce for CRM, then you're going to write like 3-4 different integrations. Let's say you're using another inventory management software, then you write another custom code, and it becomes so cumbersome. But then let's say you use an integration platform. Everything is in one place. So it's more like a CRM for integration. So everything which has got to do with integrations is all here. And if something changes, you don't have to go and change everywhere. You just change here, and it affects all the other integrations. So that's an easy sell.
So you're absorbing kind of all that complexity in terms of keeping all the players working together so that the customer does not ultimately have to absorb that.
Absolutely. And again, it's about keeping yourself organized. So let's say, for instance, you have a desk and you can have 10 different books in your desk, and you can have a TV remote, and you can have a mouse and a lot of 10 different things. But then instead of doing that, it's more like a router, right? You just have a router, and then from there, you have multiple things. So yeah, so you just keep yourself organized with an integration platform.
Nice, nice. So let's shift a little bit to e-commerce. One of the most common integrations that we see in distribution, I would say this is increasing with the pandemic. That's my own opinion. I'm actually looking for yours. For us, the pandemic's been a big move towards increasing cloud consumption and increasing of integrations, especially in the e-commerce world. I think as people's face-to-face interactions were reduced kind of by necessity, the need for replacements in terms of digital interconnection became much more prevalent. And I would say that the pandemic is, with supply chains, inflation, all the other things, continues to have some pretty big ripple effects in our industries. Now, from your perspective of kind of the distribution community, do you see any major e-commerce or distribution trends that are emerging from the pandemic, and do you see these as permanent or transient, and what do you see companies doing to better realign themselves with those changes?
Well, absolutely. So we always like to say this, it's not one or the other, it's everything together. And especially after the pandemic, the need for e-commerce, as you know, has increased dramatically. And people who already have an e-commerce are definitely ahead of the game, and those who don't. So today, it's not a question of, do I need an e-commerce or not? It's a question of, hey, how integrated the systems are, and are we able to provide a low effort experience to the customer? So on that perspective, another great thing is the customers are already aware of this need. It's not like we have to go and educate them, hey, you got to do this, or you have to get this integrated, or you need an e-commerce. So that's not the sell anymore. People are really, really aware that e-commerce is required and these systems are needed. But now the question is, are the systems talking to each other? Are we able to provide a low effort experience for the customer? Let's say a customer is calling for customer support. Is the customer support personnel empowered, and does she or he have all the information to provide to the customer, is the question which is being asked. And on that sense, that's the kind of growth we are seeing today. And I was actually talking to a distributor, and he was so happy that he started on the e-com right before the pandemic, because when the pandemic came, they were already ready, and then it just made their process a lot easier. So that's something we are definitely seeing in the industry right now. And also after the pandemic, there's obviously a lot of consolidation which is happening in the industry, especially in the distribution side of things, because some people are retiring and the next generation does not really want to take over the business. So there's definitely a lot of consolidation happening as well. Yeah, so that's something we are seeing as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, looking forward to kind of the immediate future, I understand that you're conducting a DCKAP Summit in October. Now, I had been to your roundup in the spring in Austin and had a blast, a real nice collaborative event. And you've done these summit events before. Why don't you tell me just a little bit about the event this year and what we can expect?
First off, thanks for coming to the DCKAP Roundup in Austin in May. We enjoyed having you there, and thanks for the great session and insights as well. So we are super excited about the DCKAP Summit, which is going to be on October 28th this year, which is actually this month. And it's going to be at the Sheraton Grand in Los Angeles, California. So the theme of the conference is competition, growth, and talent. So growth, competition, and talent in the distribution industry. And we have an amazing lineup of speakers for the event. We have people like Duncan Wardle. He's doing a workshop. He's the former head of creativity and innovation at Disney. What can we learn from another industry? What can we learn from Disney? And what can we apply to the distribution industry is something we're going to be talking about. And we also have great speakers from companies like 3M. We also have professors from Texas A&M, College Station. We have a lot of distributors joining us, folks from SRS Distribution, one of the largest roofing distributors in the country, folks from Rigid Hitch, Mirasful Mirren, and a lot of other distributors. So we are super, super excited about it. Again, the theme of the conference is growth, talent, and competition in distribution, and it's on October 28th this month, a few weeks from now in Los Angeles.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I love the opportunity to get distributors together. When we had a internal summit with several of our customers, they enjoyed just the opportunity to talk to each other and see how they were solving common problems. And I find in the distribution community, even with the amount of competition that exists, the amount of collaboration is really strong. I think that always makes these events really, really satisfying. And so, to summarize, if I understood, your summit will be on the 28th of October at the Sheraton Grand in Los Angeles. We will include a link to the registration in the description here on this video. So thank you, Karthik, for coming and chatting with me. It was great to talk to you. And maybe one last question. Always good to know what people's books they're reading. Myself, right now, I'm reading Dostoevsky's The Demons. It's an old book that is surprisingly pertinent to our modern age, I find personally. So what are you reading right now?
I'm actually reading The Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it's a really, really good book. It's about focus. How can you really focus on your work and don't do multiple things at the same time? Just work on one thing and get yourself more organized. So that's the book I'm reading right now.
That's a good lesson. I think we all perpetually need to be learning to try and funnel things down in singular threads. Well, so thank you so much, Karthik. I hope your event on the 28th goes well, and I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you so much, Brad, and thanks for having me. And it's always great to talk to you. And pleasure chatting.
All right, take care.